What was it like to live in Ghana in 1979, a year where there were public executions of military leaders, attempts to overthrow the government, and 3 heads of state in that particular year? I'm here to go speak with Captain Dr. Nyaho Nyaho-Tamakloe, who saw events up close and personal. Come with me.
One day, on the 15th, I remember very well, all of a sudden, I was just staying at a ridge area, Accra Ridge. And my residence was quite close to the main road. By then, we had only one street, Old Acheampong Road, running to Acheampong. And interestingly, when I got up, I was on the balcony looking at what was happening outside. And I noticed people were rushing from Burma Camp direction towards Acheampong side. I think you follow me.
Yes.
So, well, this is a bit unusual. A lot of people, when somebody talks to somebody, then I'll see the person turn his car, going the other way.
You don't want to go there. Too much is happening over there.
So, eventually I got down and met somebody, one Hyde. He was an architect. He died a couple of years ago. A young man, he died at a very early age. So I asked Hyde, I said, oh, what is happening? Then Hyde said, oh, it's Jerry John. Oh. I said, what is the Jerry John? They mean Rawlings.
Rawlings.
Those who were in school with him, Acheampong with him. So I said, for what reason? Then he told me that he has no idea also. The whole area of Burma Camp, people are just living the Burma Camp area. Those going to the east, going to the west, going to the north and south. Everybody was
scattered.
Well, there's firing there and soldiers are. Now, I have just been relieved from detention. So I was telling myself.
And you were in detention for how long?
Close, no, not close, 2 years plus.
2 years?
Oh, yeah.
When did you start thinking of overthrowing Acheampong?
Acheampong, I was in the military.
Yes.
As a soldier. My mother unit is military hospital. As a soldier, you can be sent anywhere because all the battalions have got hospitals. So the first place I was sent to when I left the military hospital was to go and man a battalion hospital at 1st Infantry Battalion. That is what you call Michel Camp. So I was there for some time, almost 2 years or so, close to 2 years. And then I was transferred to 5 Battalion of Infantry, which itself is in Burma Camp. And it's quite known, notorious battalions. Well, they have been involved in a lot of coup d'etats in this country, attempted coup d'etat, all sort of things. So I was there, and then I was asked to prepare the troops for the Middle East. So we finished that. Our group was known as Gambat 4. But there have been previous one, Gambat 1, 2, 3. We were the 4th group to go to.
Gambat for Ghana Battalion.
Ghana, yeah, that's right, Gambat for Ghana Battalion. And we were there for, normally you serve for 6 men. So we served there. And then I remember one day, the commanding officer, a very, very efficient officer called Abana. He was from the north. But I mean, those days you see the military as military. He told all the company commanders who formed the battalion that we shall be having a visit from the Commissioner of Foreign Affairs, who was then late Roger Feli. So truly we were there when they arrived from the desert, from Suez Canal. You have to cross Suez Canal before you come, and we're quite deep because from Suez Canal, when you cross the canal and where we're living, it's more than 2 hours drive. So they came. Our camp is there. They were welcome. And then Roger met the CEO, that's the commanding officer, and then called the company commanders. But the company commanders, they work together with the CEO. The military has what we call section, platoons, and then companies, and then they form the battalion. Of course, with supporting services. So we were informed by the colonel that he's come down on the orders of the head of state, that's General Acheampong, to come explain to us the idea of union government. And that union government is definitely going to be a sort of a government that you have the police, the army, the other, what they call security services, and civilians who might be interested, that sort of thing, to run the government. Hey, we went with him first. That's fairly Roger, to address the troops. They were large. The battalion is quite a heavy group. So after finishing with the troops, of course the troops, nobody asked a question. Then we came back to the officers' mess on the desert room. And then he addressed us. Feli was such a wonderful man. Wonderful man. So he addressed us. And then, to my surprise, I thought there would be questioning. Boy, he said, gentlemen, any question? And nobody spoke. So I got up. I said, sir, Roger, in the military at times, in the mess, to ease tension, you can call a senior officer.
You can drop the ranks.
That's right.
Okay. What was your rank then?
I was a captain, and he was a colonel.
Okay, so that's quite high. Yeah, big difference.
So, as I said, I don't believe we were commissioned to run a government or a country. Then he smiled. Very nice man. It's unfortunate some of you don't know. Handsome boy. Then he said, oh, Nyaho, things have changed. The world is changing, And in order to stop this sort of infighting and uprising so that the nation will grow, the chairman means acheampong. The things, they should push this idea. Of course, the certain idea has been brought by civilians to him. Now,
were you convinced?
Is it?
Were you convinced by his argument?
No. That's what I told him. I don't believe we have been commissioned to run civilian life.
So even when he responded to you, you still were not convinced?
No, then I kept quiet.
Okay.
Then we finished serving our what do you call it?
The 6 months?
What was the word you used just now?
Your tour.
Our tour, that's the word I wanted. We completed our tour, and then after the 6 months tour, and then we came back home. When we came back home, then a friend of mine, an old friend, he's far older than me. When I knew him first, I was about 14, 15 years old. I went to listen to him. That was in the 50s. I went to listen to him at, do you know St. Mary's in Accra?
The school?
That's right. Adjacent to it, there's a clinic. There used to be a place there, they used to call it Kimbu. No, Okpongobu. The word Okpongo means a horse. And they call it that way because what you now call Asafwachenete Road used to be called Horse Road. In those days, those in the society who have got money, they used to have horses that pulled them in carriages and whatnot. And they used to drink, the horses used to drink at that corner.
Yes.
Now they have put up a clinic there.
Yeah.
And this man was very young, slim at that time. He was talking. I remember I came down with a friend of mine called Randolph from Adabraka, all the way from Adabraka. All of a sudden, he became popular. This after Kwashi I'm talking about. Oh, he died recently, about 2.5 years ago. He was over 100. Then, when I got back from the Middle East, he sent a word that he would like to see me. And mind you, he was among the first batch that were detained by Nkrumah in 1958. When they finished, I think 63 or something, they passed another bill in Parliament and sent him back.
He became a veteran of the prison.
Himself and other Ghana boys who were then, the government believed they were creating problems in the country. And they were popularly known as Tokyo Joe boys. And so, Ato became a close friend of mine. But mind you, when I met him at that time, I couldn't come close to him. These are, you know. But when I came back to Ghana as a doctor, and I was in the army, then a couple of my friends in the army, they were about to go somewhere. And they said, Nyaho, we are going to visit an elderly man who we go there almost every week. These are officers. If you wouldn't mind, you go together. So I went to them. I went to them when they mentioned the name. Is it the same man I've known years back? And lo and behold, when I went, he was a child. And we were so happy. I remember some of the names I can remember now. There was a helicopter pilot called George Mould. This Mould in NDC, I think that's a cousin or brother. And then also, there was people like Colonel Larry Fuswapia, who died recently. People like Major Ojija, Anna Ojija, who was a very great intelligence officer, a military intelligence officer. And then another Stanley Pierre, you might not know him. He was a major too. We were young people, so you know. And we stayed there for a couple of hours and chatted with him. Now that phase hasn't passed. Then I went to the Middle East. Now I've come back. Now he has asked that I see him. So when I went there, I met an officer I had just seen on television. But I've never got close to him before. He was a senior officer. His name was Colonel George Minyala. So Minyala approached me nicely. After Kwashi introduced me to Minyala. Then we sat down and had a chat. Then Minyala asked a question. He says, so, in which unit are you? He means my military. I said, I'm 5 Battalion of Infantry. And I noticed that he was happy about that, you know. Then we had a long chat. And he was very blunt. He told me he wants this government to be removed. And the reason is quite simple. He feels they have overstayed in power. And now it appears the civilians have got fed up with them. And there's a whole lot of things going on. Mind you, he was part of government before. He was a commissioner as a minister. And then later also he was sent to Central Region. Kofodra was his base. In fact, he's really transformed Kofodra.
Eastern Region.
He's a nice gentleman. Very, very nice gentleman. So he asked me if I have a friend. Of course, I mentioned I have a very close friend, a Sandhurst trained officer, very, very pleasant chap. I invited him. So that's how the whole thing started. So we were meeting. Now, somewhere along the line, I think he spoke with somebody. I know the person. He passed on recently, who was from Field Engineers Regiment. Now, not knowing the person, after having been contacted by me, I went to report to the military police, military intelligence. So he was attending meetings with us regularly, but we didn't know. When he was not present, he sent somebody from the same unit that he is very much, he trusts that individual, so that we actually represent him. So everything that we did was known.
Wow.
So the day before our moving of troops, we were arrested in the evening.
This would have been in 1970.
That was 78, 77, 78.
What month? When were you supposed to do this move?
I think it was somewhere in June. In June. So we were arrested, sent to various cells, special branch cells. In those days, this NIB or Biana, whatever they call them now, they were called
Special branch.
Special branch because that's what the establishment was, the police establishment. And they give special attention to the civilian population to see where the likelihood of uprising and sabotage might come from.
What was interrogation like?
They are quite different from CID.
CID, okay. You were interrogated, I assume?
Oh, yes.
What was it like? What was the experience?
It's very interesting. 3 of us were put in a very, very bad cell.
How bad?
Now, you do everything in the room. The size of the room is like this. Everything. You eat there. I mean, you do everything there. You bath there, everything, your food, everything there.
In the same room?
So, I remember when we were sent to the cell. You might know the cell now. If you leave 37 and you are heading towards Kaukuri.
Yes.
Look on your right. You see a tall wall.
That's where you were?
That's where we were.
That was your home for how long?
For 3 months.
Okay.
3 months indoors. No, you don't even come out.
Did you have access to radio, television?
Hey!
Visitors?
Nothing. No visitors, nothing. The first day, they called us for interrogation and whatnot. I mean, you see that your skin is so pale.
Because you hadn't had any sunlight?
No, not at all.
Did they beat you?
They didn't beat me because I realized they had all the information. So what you know, you say it. But one person was very, very badly tortured, and that was Atokwashi. He was badly tortured. In fact, he nearly died.
What did they do to him?
You'll be battered. All forms of, maybe they want information. They thought you were trying to hide information. So they will do anything possible to extract the information. You follow me? That man nearly died. I think he was saved by one police inspector. He was then an elderly man, the inspector, called Boatin.
Okay.
So Boatin became something like a close ally or friend of ours. He was looking after it. Okay. And I remember the cells, they have strong metal gates. I mean, there's no way you can come out. And then they have a peephole, which is normally closed from outside. And there's this sort of line that you have is on there 24/7.
Now the light is directly on.
Always.
Did your family know you were?
I noticed that at times around midnight, somebody comes to open the door and peep through. Then finally I got to know that it was late Peter Namfuri.
Oh.
It's very interesting.
The police boss.
Oh yes, he knows me very well. But Namfuri was then superintendent of police. Either superintendent or chief superintendent or police. So one day when he came, I said, next time when you come, I'll plug your eyes. so when we got to the one day we met, in fact, when he was made a chief, He attended a church service at the police church at Alajo. I went there. Later, he stays not quite far away from me here. I think he also passed on recently.
Yes, he did.
So, we have this sort of interesting thing. And then
you spent 3 months there.
3 months.
How many of you were in that cell?
We were all in all. We were 4.
You, Atikwashi?
No, we were 5, but the civilian.
Okay.
So 3 of us were at that particular place, and the other 3 were put. The other 2 were put at the headquarters of the special branch.
Are they all alive?
Unfortunately, all of them are dead.
All of them are passed. Atikwashi passed.
You see,
Atikwashi passed.
Atikwashi passed recently. He was quite aged.
Yeah.
He was 100 plus when he died.
All right.
About 2.5 years ago.
Do you remember the names of the others?
Oh yes, I know. Captain Ai, Captain Sami Totime, and then Colonel George Minyala, and then Captain Nyaho Nyaho-Tamakloe. So, and from there, one day we were there when we were informed that we were called that we should get ready. Normally they won't tell you where they are taking you. So you get dressed up, and they come and then they put you in a vehicle, take you to wherever they want to take you. And we were taken to a certain block in the same area, behind where we were. There's a lot happening behind that place. And we met the then head of national security by name. He was a commissioner of police at that time, called Bokman. He was so nice with us, But then Acheampong had started seeing clear signs of difficulties now. You follow me? So Bokman was so nice. So we thought we were going to be released. Mind you, I kept on saying that Minyala was in government before, and he left. He left and he was brought back to battalion, or brought back to armed forces. So Minyala kept on saying that we can never be tried. You follow me? When a blind man says he's going to stone you, you know exactly what he's doing. And it happened.
They never tried you?
No.
No court martial, nothing?
Nothing. Now, then one day they got us into a small van with armed policemen and I think prison officers.
No soldiers?
No soldiers.
Okay.
No soldiers at all. Then we left this particular building and we noticed that we were heading northwest. By the time we realized we were getting towards, people said we are heading towards. So we were thinking they might be taking us to the north somewhere.
Didn't you feel that you were going to be killed or anything, executed or anything?
No, killing didn't come into my mind, honestly, at all. I personally thought they were going to put us somewhere in the north, far, far away from people. And in those days, when we are put in the north, an area that they are fond of sending you, in fact, during Kuma's time, it was the same, was war prisons.
Why?
Well, it's far from Accra. You won't have any regular visits, even though by then we have not been granted visits.
So your family didn't know where you were?
Oh, they didn't know where we were until we met. First, we met this man. What's his name? The commissioner of police I mentioned.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Because after we met him, he allowed us to be given food from home. Bokman, food from home. And that even was just for one day, because the following day they moved us again. And all we realized was that we were heading towards Nsawan. Straight into our prisons.
Wow. What was the first day like entering into our own prisons?
It's quite an interesting thing. Nsawan prisons is a well set up prison. I think their problem now is the population. So we're taken to Nsawan prisons. We have to pass through 3 gates.
Yes.
And then I remember very, very well The place was so choked at that time. And we got there a bit late. You know, normally prisoners go into their cells by 5:30. You must be locked up. So when we got there, I remember very well, we were sent to the administration block. And the administration block also, where we were put or locked up, there were a lot of young men there, small boys, juveniles who probably might have created a problem. And there was no bed or nothing. So what do? Either you sit down and sleep or you stand. And then I remember Minyela got annoyed as an officer and then called for the director of the prisons for that particular sound prisons. And the man came and complained. So they moved us. They found somewhere to put us temporarily. And then the following day, they distributed us into our respective cells. Now, if someone is made up of cells, a number of cells will give you a block. I think you follow me?
Yes.
Now, each cell, at times we can have more than 30 people there. At
In
that time, I don't know.
In a cell?
Yeah, yes.
How big is the cell? In terms of feet, averagely?
Let's let me see. About 25 by, by 30 or so. You follow me? And it's quite disturbing.
Yeah, 30 people.
But they used to have double-decker beds there. You follow me? And here I was, first time in prison, and you've completely got lost. You don't know exactly where you are. So you have to be quiet because there are criminals among them.
Yes. Who were your cellmates? Do you know what they had done?
Oh, most of them are common criminals. Most of them. Because I remember the following day when they distributed us into various halls. They didn't keep it together. Various blocks. They didn't put all of us at one place. But I remember the following day, myself and one of my colleagues, we went to see the gentleman at Okwashi. And he said he was sitting down, and there was a young boy, passing. And then they were making comments that since they brought these soldiers here, we have never had our peace. If they are going to take them to Pongpa, they should send them quickly so that we have our peace. You know Pongpa?
No.
The shooting range.
Oh, okay. The sound of the gun, right? Pongpa.
The guns call it Pongpa. If they'll take them, they should take them. So I thought, look. He shook his head. What does he need? He's another man. If anything, he's fighting for the same young man future. So that also tells you how the Ghanaian can behave. So we're there for about 2 weeks, and then we'll move again.
From Zawang?
From Zawang. Hey, but they left Ato behind.
The civilian?
Yeah, the civilian behind. We move us, once again heading southwest. When we got to Accra, we realized we were going towards High Street. And we ended up at Ussher Fort. We ended up at Ussher Fort. As usual, 3 gates. They just caught us in. And then there, when we got there, they have already prepared a place for us. In fact, recently I visited there. I'll see if I get the pictures. I'll send it.
You saw yourself?
I saw myself. They call that particular block Upper Landing. And we were on the top. That's the Upper Landing. And then the next cell to us or cells to us are meant for black coats. When they say black coats, people maybe who have been condemned to death. And then later, they have the pardon, presidential pardon or something. When they come out, they serve a number of years more, about 10, 15 years more. So they give them a black jacket to wear and a black shorts. So normally they are known in the prisons as black coats. they know the prison in and out.
You've been there long enough.
Is it?
They've been there long enough.
Oh, long enough. Oh, some of them have spent years there. Most of them is about murder. You know. And one thing I noticed also is that when we were there, most of the murder cases, when we have the chat with them, they were quite interesting. It were cases involving marriage matters. Yeah, and most of them also were farmers or ordinary people from the Western region. That's also what I noticed. Most of them.
Do you know why?
Well, I don't know. You know how. Why even the group was quite large from Western region, I didn't understand. But with the marriage problems that will resolve or will result in murder, when you talk to them, you can see that their temperament will tell you that they can easily commit such crimes. You know.
Did they know you were a doctor? Did the prisoners?
Oh, they knew. They knew.
Did you get to use your skills inside prison?
I did that in Nsawam.
Okay.
During my second visit to Nsawam prison.
Okay. Oh, you went back to
I lived in Nsawam twice.
Okay. Within the same 2 years that you were.
No.
Okay.
That one was when Rollins was in.
Oh, okay. You went back there.
That was where I practiced medicine.
What were you doing as a doctor inside the prison?
But that was through the influence of Kwame Piani, because by then Kwame was also a prisoner. Oh, people are suffering for this country. And I'll tell you, that will come. But
so your first visit in Ashaford, yes. You met anyone?
Our first visit in Ashaford.
Okay.
Now, I remember, I forgot one thing. When we were brought to someone first, the following day, the Director General of Prisons came to the prisons. And he came purposely to see us. Not that he came to have a chat with us, no. To make sure that we are really there. His name was Alote. One of these colonial train, you know. Now, when we were sent to Ussher, we managed through the black goats. Because the black goats, some are allowed to go out to buy things, and they come back.
Okay.
You know. So we arranged with them to get us corned beef and kenke. I remember this very well.
You missed the kenke and the corned beef.
And within the prison, they can grind pepper and all this sort of thing. So that was no problem. So they prepared this corned beef and kenke for us. The four of us soldiers were eating together at the upper landing, right in front of our cell.
Atukwashe didn't follow you back to Ashaford?
No, he wasn't brought that.
Okay.
Later, they brought him to police hospital.
Okay.
I think he fell ill. So we're having this nice kenke and corned beef. Who walks in? This same Director General of Prisons, Alote. Then he was questioning the prison guard or officer, how come we are eating
corned beef?
We were so mad. Believe me, we were so mad. But we didn't mind him. And of course, the warder too didn't know what to say, but they all know that it's possible. So we stayed there. We were there. When we went in, interestingly, two people, politicians have been brought there. J.H. Mensah.
Former senior minister.
Former senior minister. And Sheikh Isikwe.
Sheikh Isikwe. Former Greater Accra Regional.
Exactly. Yeah. They were there too. I told them at a certain point, people got fed up. You know, when the population gets fed up with a particular government, the government must see it. And acheampong was not still giving way. You follow me? And this was what even led to his colleagues coming out with a palace coup against him. So I was even on a...
Yeah, so you met these people, these politicians inside the Ussher fort?
Yeah. And they have been brought there for sedition. I think JH might have written something. And we have been brought there for subversion, which is a criminal case, serious criminal case.
Punishable by?
Is it?
Punishable by?
By death. So that was quite a different case. So then we were there when one day they went to court, the JH and ICQ. Their case was handled. Listen carefully, because this is an interesting development. The High Court judge or Supreme Court judge or Appeals Court judge, I can't remember exactly, was Justice Corantin, that lady who was murdered.
With the judges, part of the 4 judges. The 2 judges and
the name was, I think,
Corantin Addo.
Corantin Addo. I remember myself and Jay for years after, we went to visit the mother before the mother died. By then the daughter has been killed already. I remember very well. Yeah. Myself and Kufo went there.
82.
So by then we were going to Obuasi or somewhere. Kufo said we should pass them. Now.
So she was in charge of the JH case, JH and ICQ case.
And they were released. JH and ICQ were released. So we were now left there. What we say in the parlance there is that you are now cutting the days. So we were there cutting the days. The days are coming, weeks are coming, and you are there. You know.
How did you pass your time in prison?
It's terrible. I mean, it's so boring. You don't know what to do with yourself.
Nothing to read?
There's nothing to read. You can get a book if you request for it. Not from the prisons. The prisons, the only thing they can give you is Bible. That's all. Now, then then a year has passed.
A year passed.
Then we started hearing of disturbances in town. I mentioned Professionals Association. They formed a nice group. And they went to lunch it at Accra Community Center. And chairman brought his people there and some thugs. You know, I spoke about Apatara Chicks with Wilson last time. That group has been put in place to give acheampong civilian support days. You follow me? So they came and disrupted the thing and started fighting with people like Professor Sio Kwakumpong, distinguished people. So we heard about all that in Ussher fort. It's not far from Ussher fort.
Who was telling you this? So you didn't have access to radio, did you?
Oh, the people bring information.
Okay.
Very easy. So it continued. Then one day, we heard that acheampong has decided to have a referendum done. And the referendum will be about nothing done. This same thing Feli spoke with us about on the desert.
The union government idea.
The union government. Those who would like a multi-party democratic government will vote no. Those who want union government will vote yes. I think you follow me. And there were a lot of campaigns. Mind you, there were pockets of political parties still, hanging around. And then I remember at a certain stage, I had a small surgery done on me. They brought me all the way from the prisons to police hospital. By then, police hospital was very new. And by then also, they have arrested Victor Usu. You follow me?
Yes, indeed.
So, and I thought Kwashi was there too. So when I finished with Obusu, the guard was quite nice. So I had the opportunity to talk to Victor.
Okay. Did they handcuff you?
No, I wasn't handcuffed.
Okay.
I wasn't handcuffed. So Victor said, oh, Nyaho Nyaho-Tamakloe, don't mind acheampong at all. Their purse is empty. He means money. So he was reading a British paper, and he showed it to me. And very soon, that would be the end of them. And it happened. So after that, we were there when this referendum exercise came. J.H. Mensah by then had not been released. Isaac too also was in the prisons. Now, one man who championed that no vote was known as G.W. Amatefu. G.W. Amatefu was a known politician and a strong House of Folk man, known very well in sports and football. Now, G.W. became so popular in Accra at that time that he was known as Mr. No. Well, he was really champion No. Now, acheampong made either a Supreme Court judge or appeals court judge by name Justice Aban as the electoral commissioner. So this thing started voting. Then all of a sudden, they brought the counting to Accra Community Center. They had huge balls there, All we could hear was that the yes people have won.
So yes to Unigov.
Yes is Unigov. Hey, how is it possible? Which one then we shall stay there? Then also, the following day, a different message came. That rather the no one, and acheampong was forcing the electoral commissioner to change
the result. And you're hearing all this inside Ussher Fort?
Oh, God. Information is what people are going to come here, what the word is. Some can even smuggle letters to you, So, acheampong attempted to change the mind of the electoral commissioner to declare the results in his favor. And the electoral commissioner refused. This is Aban. Listen to me. So he set up some of his guards to have him pick up. And Aban had information at the electoral commission. And he had to be assisted to jump the wall to run away to safety.
He took to his heels?
Of course.
Safety first.
He took to his heels. And it was so interesting. Now, then he went into hiding. Well, nobody saw him again.
Yeah, the whole electoral commissioner.
I'm telling you. Then acheampong brought another man. He wasn't a lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't think he was a lawyer. Because formerly, all electoral commissioners have been senior members of the bench. Not what we are doing now. So, he brought a gentleman by name, I think, Magrani Kwe. So Kwe came and declared the results in favor of acheampong.
So acheampong got his wish.
Acheampong got his wish. Then the demonstration started. And this is what compelled Akufo and his group to unseat acheampong.
So that's the sequence.
You see the sequence?
Yes.
So
if, in theory, if acheampong had allowed the no vote to stay,
then it follows, there must be a handover.
Exactly.
You follow me? Now, so immediately Akufo By then, Odate Wellington was Army Commander. Kote was Chief of Defense Staff, and Aku was in charge of everything. And Amedome was head of the Navy and Yabuache Air Force, Now, if Acheampong had allowed the no votes, then we would have gone back to normal democratic process. You follow me?
You would have had to hand over.
Yes, I'll have to hand over. But he refused. So immediately he was unseated, or even before then, there was a plan to return the country to Sunyani. So I think a small committee was put in place that visited the regions to find out their views and whatnot. And believe me, that was exactly what's part. So removal of Acheampong was done by the generals themselves. Because they realize where he's leading the country now will be in a serious danger.
You feel that those generals they read the country's mood better than Acheampong himself?
Definitely, because they warned him. I had an information from a very top military intelligence officer. They called him and told him, look, we have to leave the scene now. We have to. That the populace definitely are not in favor of our staying in power. I didn't mind them. Then quickly put in place the structures I spoke with you earlier about. Union government, no, yes, thinking by doing that. That's why he implemented it to the last minute and had himself declared as a winner.
So the demonstrations erupted?
Exactly. There were problems everywhere. Unfortunately, also during that period, there was shortage of food in town. That's the time that we started having this kind of the so-called yellow corn from the U.S.
By that time, you were still in prison.
Oh, I was in prison.
Yes. So 79 met you in prison.
Oh, absolutely.
First day of 79, you were in prison.
I said
2 years.
I was there. We were prisoners. During that period, after the referendum, Gage Mensah and ICU were released. You follow me?
Yes.
So myself and the 3 other officers, who were 4, we are now prisoners. We can't go anywhere.
What was your most miserable day in Ussher Fort?
In prison, every day is a miserable day, I can tell you. But one thing that I remember, if you know the geography of Ussher Fort,
yes.
If you go there one day, you ask for the office of the director. Now there's a corridor where you can stand. There's a small window. When you stand there, you can see the street.
You can see freedom.
It's so relieving. So when the two of us went there and we were just standing there, we can't go out.
Just watching.
And a water came and cleared us from that place. When we asked him why, he said, you are more dangerous criminals than the criminals we have here. He said it. A water. I'm telling you.
He deprived you of the view.
Of course. And then immediately they banned us from coming there.
How did that make you feel?
Oh, very bad. Especially the statement he made. Very, very bad. I mean, there are times that you really feel very, very bad. Very, 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 very bad.